Hello, everyone, and welcome to
The Movie House.
Today we're going to talk to you about a movie from 1964 called My Fair Lady, starring Rex Harrison, Audrey Hepburn, and Wilfred Hyde White.
That's a mouthful.
That's a mouthful.
That's a mouthful. This is one of my favorite musicals. I can watch it over and over again. Wonderful music, wonderful actors. I think it's great, too, because this is based on George Bernard Shaw's play, Pygmalion, and then it developed into My Fair Lady, which was also done on Broadway with Rex Harrison and Julie Andrews.
Right. And when they went to make the movie, they didn't cast Julie Andrews. They cast Audrey Hepburn instead.
Right. And I believe Audrey Hepburn was paid $1 million to do this movie. So at that time, she was the highest paid actress ever.
Wow.
I believe.
Wow.
Have to double check that, but she made a lot of money doing this movie.
And I was reading, too, that she was not happy when she found out that she was going to have all her singing dubbed over by another person. And when she found out, she stormed off the set. But she came back the next day and apologized.
Oh, thank goodness, because she's wonderful as Eliza Doolittle.
Yes. But from then on, if she was going to be in a musical, she always stipulated that she had to use her own voice.
I don't think she did any other musicals.
Well, that's what I thought. I didn't think so either.
It's interesting because just a little history of Audrey Hepburn. I think really, all in all, she may have only done 11 films.
Yeah.
She didn't do a whole lot of work, but what she did was incredible. And, Breakfast at Tiffany's, Roman Holiday, right?
Yeah.
That's her in Roman Holiday. Yeah, so she did a lot of good work, but for really just only a handful of films.
Yeah, that's true.
And she's beloved. She's a beloved movie icon, fashion icon. So that's kind of interesting. Well, no, she was in Funny Face with Fred Astaire. And so I wonder if she did her own singing in that one.
She must have, because
she might have.
I've never seen it, but
you have seen it. It's just been a long time ago. But that's one of my favorites, too. I'm a big Fred Astaire fan and Audrey Hepburn. So, yeah, that's true. She sang in that one as well.
Okay.
And wasn't Julie Andrews doing Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and that's why she couldn't do it?
I believe she had a conflict. That was the problem, yeah.
I didn't know if that was the reason, was Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, which is another great movie.
So My Fair Lady is a classic. It's almost 3 hours long. It's 2 hours and 50 minutes, but it goes by pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. It's a very good storyline, very good flow, like you said. And the characters are really interesting. There's a lot of extra characters. Eliza Doolittle's father, for instance, is hilarious, and his songs are great. So, and then you have Colonel Pickering, and you have Professor Higgins' mother. She's great too. So, and everybody, it's a really, really good film, and gives you a good feel for the time period, I think, to show what it was like to be in, Covent Square, and all the flower sellers and the vegetable sellers, and to show the difference between the classes of people at the time.
Yeah, it's a great story. It's like you said, it's a timeless tale of metamorphosis, right?
Mm-hmm.
And teacher-student, and those sorts of relationships. And it's very humorous. Rex Harrison is very funny. What do you think of Henry Higgins' character? Is he a good guy or a bad guy?
I think at first he's a bad guy. I think he's a bad guy because he's arrogant. He's a snob. He's well educated. He's very wealthy. And so he can do whatever he wants and be whatever he wants. And he is a bad guy. Sounds kind of harsh, but he's not very sensitive to anybody else. He's very self-centered. Mm-hmm. And I think because he's never had it rough, he can't imagine what it's like to be Eliza Doolittle. Why is Eliza Doolittle the way she is? And he doesn't seem to have any concept of that.
Right.
So I think he is a bad guy, but I think Eliza Doolittle helps him, opens his eyes, obviously, to being a better person.
Yeah, it's a very subtle change in
They don't
him.
really show it.
Right, and the only reason you know he's changed at all is because he clearly has fallen for Eliza against his own wishes,
Yes.
and it's almost by surprise. But he doesn't change as a character. Which I think is very true to life. He's still that pompous, arrogant, selfish guy. Just now he's just that guy in love with a woman.
Right.
And I think that's partly maybe why it lasts, because he doesn't have a Scrooge sort of change where he completely radically changes his whole personality because of this one. He changes for the
Right.
better, but he's
Right.
still at his core, he's still the same guy and with the same shortcomings.
Same shortcomings. And I think that's what's interesting, because that's Eliza's lament is, you've raised me, and hopefully everybody has seen this. I don't want to be giving spoiler alerts, but he's made her into this better person and opened up to her gifts and talents and abilities that she wasn't aware she had. And then she's like, what have you done with me? Where am I to go? Who am I to be now? You've taught me to live a certain way, and now I have to go backwards.
Right, because she can't be back with her old cronies because they won't accept her because now she's been polished up.
Right.
But she doesn't have a pile of money like
Right.
he does to go and live with the rich people.
Right.
So she's kind of stuck now in limbo.
Right. And I mean, she's suitable for middle class, and she could do that, but she's been living upper class. She
Right.
hasn't been living a middle class life. She's living a high upper class life. And so that's really interesting to think about. It's like people who win the lottery or are given like HGTV, you get the house for free, and then you can't afford to change the light bulbs. So it's that sort of thing. She's a fish out of water all over again, but in a different way. But I like too, like you said, he doesn't really change, but you see that since they have affection for one another, they're both willing to meet in the middle because she comes back.
Right.
She comes back, and he's like, okay, I'm glad you're back. But we don't know how it goes forward from there.
Right.
So that's kind of interesting. It's like, well, hopefully they lived happily ever after.
What do you think about it as a commentary on society, where she is perceived and accepted by new people and new layers of society simply because she speaks correctly and she's dressed in a certain way?
Right. Well, birds of a feather flock together. But it's interesting. Again, this is just a 3-hour movie, but take Titanic, and you have unseekable Molly Brown, who has the clothes, has the money, but she's not accepted by the upper classes because she's new money. So the reason Eliza Doolittle is accepted is because everybody thinks she's a foreigner.
Mhm.
So they give her extra grace because they don't believe she's English. So I think that might be some of how she gets away with it. But I think a lot of times, at least that time period, old money looked down upon new money. So I don't think it's a true guide for the commentary, because everybody perceived her to be exotic, a foreigner. She's not English. She's from another little European country that we don't usually care about, but she's just comes on the scene.
Well, that was what the Higgins
Right.
student thought.
Right.
But what about the other characters? They didn't think she was a foreigner.
Well, but I don't think they were accepting her as British either. They said her accent was flawless. So I don't think anybody perceived her as one of their own. she was new on the scene, because all these people, like you said, the birds of a feather flock together. So everybody at Ascot, they all know each other.
Right.
You know, everybody at that ball knows each other. So they, you know, she's new and exotic, so they know she's not one of them.
Okay.
They know it. But I think the perception that she carries herself differently, so I think they assume that she's foreign. And so she's accepted.
I didn't get that at all.
Yeah, that's what I get out of it, because just knowing how, from books and other movies I've seen, that old money looks down on new money.
Well, right, I knew that.
Yeah.
But she's being taught by an expert in the English dialect.
Right.
So she is speaking
but she's
with
even
an excellent
right. And
English accent, which I understand. The linguist guy, the Hungarian linguist guy, suspects she's not genuine because she's too perfect.
well, that's the thing, right? Because she is British.
Right. But
She
nobody
is-
else has that keen of an ear.
No.
They would know.
But she
that.
is carrying herself even higher than his mother and their friends. I mean, she
Okay.
seems regal. So
Okay.
that's why I think they were like, oh, she's not one of us. She's even greater than
Okay.
one of us.
Okay.
That's how I think. And I think that's why they were accepting of her, that they thought themselves, it wasn't, you know, except when she's, you know, come on, Dova.
So what's the comment then that the author is making here, or the director in particular this movie, on society?
Well, I think what's the old saw, is that what they call it? The old saw, that never judge a book by its cover. And at the same time, just because somebody looks different than you or sounds different than you, like she said, I'm a human being just like you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you treating me like I'm dirt. You
Right.
treat me like I'm trash under your feet.
Right.
That's how you treat me because of our position socially.
Mm-hmm.
And that's never right. That's never a good way to treat people, right? You treat from the uttermost to the guttermost, the golden rule, right? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And I think that's what she's saying here. She's like, I mean, she's polite to him,
Right.
but he's not polite to her.
No.
But she's like, Governor, would you like to buy a I mean, she doesn't accost him.
Mm-hmm.
She's not rude to him or belligerent, but she's like, sir, would you like to buy? And she's not, but he just has nothing but disdain for her because the way she sounds and the way she looks. And
of course, he has disdain for everybody.
Right, he does.
Nobody speaks correctly, in his view.
Right. But it
Why
shows,
can't the English learn to speak?
learn to speak, right.
Okay.
Well, but that's my thoughts on it.
All right, very good. So overall,
Oh, it's a wonderful
highly
movie.
recommend.
Yes.
Yes.
The music, the costume, it's a beautiful musical. It's a great story. Pretty much everybody can relate to it because it's a fairy tale, right? She's Cinderella. She's Cinderella, and she's been taken to the ball, and everything falls apart after the ball, right? She loses her slipper, and then the prince has to come find her. And it's kind of the similar story. It's just like, okay, now I'm not Cinderella anymore. I'm Cinderella, but my carriage is gone. My fancy gown is gone. The glass slippers are gone. Who am I?
Right.
So,
Okay. Very good. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
bye.